Now last year, I said that the Pixel 7 was the best phone in its price range, and this year, I feel like the Pixel 8 is headed in that direction. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know how Google was going to outperform the Pixel 7 since that phone was extremely good. But surprisingly, Google was able to take an already great phone and take it even further. There's more features, better hardware, better and more reliable software, and even though the Pixel 8 has stepped up in damn near every category, it does come at a cost. The Pixel 8 will now be $100 more than last year's 7, which basically means that it's now $700. And honestly, that really isn't bad when the iPhone 15 is around the same price with older hardware and a 60Hz refresh rate. But besides my reasonings for why I think that the Pixel 8 has the potential to be the best value phone of 2023, I want to show you guys all of the new features that it has and give my first impression. Now, starting with features, the Pixel 8 has most of the same features as the 8 Pro, which makes it pretty great for the value that you're getting. It now has a 120Hz display. And again, even though it does cost $100 more, I really do think that it makes up for it with all the new additives. The Pixel 8 will be getting 7 years worth of security, OS, and feature updates, meaning that you can keep it until 2030, which is insane for a phone that's under $1,000. The Pixel 8 will also have a massive bump in brightness. It will now be able to reach up to 2000 nits worth of peak brightness compared to the 7's 1400. The battery has been bumped up to 4500 mAh, which is pretty okay, but battery mainly comes down to software as opposed to a simple spec. The 8 also has a new Tensor G3 chip, which should be much better at dealing with overheating, and it will be slightly more powerful than last year's G2 chip. Now, going into brand new software features, if you're on Google Chrome, you can now ask your assistant to summarize the page for you. Speech to text is faster and more accurate, so whenever you're talking and you say or it won't pick it up. There's a new Fitted feature, which means that your Pixel will proofread your messages before you send them, which means that there's less typos. There's also a new camera layout that separates video from the camera, which is much more organized in my opinion. There's a new Magic Editor, which not only allows you to erase a subject from a photo, but it also allows you to move the subject anywhere in the photo, which is pretty cool. The Pixel also allows you to change people's faces, so when you take a group photo, there might be someone who wasn't smiling, but when you take burst photos, you're now able to edit and make sure everyone's face is correct, which is pretty cool. And then there's the audio eraser that lets you remove any unnecessary background noise in the video. And there's so many more cool features that the Pixel 8 has, and not only that, but just like the 8 Pro, it still has those really cool features from the previous Pixel phones, so I think that the price increase is fair. Now, the Pixel 8 has 3 different colors in its catalog, starting with Rose and Hazel, which are colors that truly pop out in the lineup. And for the more uniform colors, there's Obsidian, which is basically black. As you can see, it looks really good. The uniform aspect really made the phone stand out, and to be honest, this phone reminds me more of the Pixel 7 Pro more than the Pixel 7. You can also see that the camera bump is very premium and is also extremely similar to last year in terms of look and material. Even when we look at it in the sun, we can see that it looks really good while also giving off a nice clean look that I think many people will like. I also love how it had the solid sides that were the same color and continued that clean aesthetic of the phone, and it looked even better when the sun reflected on it. Now, the Pixel 8 has a 6.2-inch actual display that I will say was pretty good based on my first impression. It was vibrant, the quality was good, but it is smaller than the Pixel 7. I also really like the fact that the size was big with very small bezels. Like right here, I'm playing a game and you can see that it's still big enough to get the job done and give a good visual experience. The display is also 120Hz, which means that you'll get much smoother experience when it comes to scrolling, and it'll feel much smoother than last year's 7. Facial recognition so far is better than the 7 since Google has made it more of a priority to fix, and Touch ID is slightly faster as well, which is something that I really liked. But besides that, the display was very responsive. Everything that I clicked on and moved responded very quickly, and I would say that overall, it felt very high quality, especially for a phone that's under $1,000. And outside of the new features, the Pixel 8 gave me the exact same software experience based on my first impressions, so if you're a fan of Google's software and stock Android in general, you're really going to love it. And to give you guys an idea of how well the screen performed, here's me watching a video on my Pixel 8.
That shot right there would be good as a statue. Exactly. As he gets his 4th basket, 12 points. Trying to get rid of Dunleavy. The timer's at 4. Bryant spinning. Now fires. And gets the ball.
Now, when it comes to build quality on the Pixel 8, I would say that when compared to other phones in its price range, it's definitely one of the most premium builds for its price range. Again, I really like the glossy back, but I do prefer matte. And when compared to the 7, they pretty much feel similar when holding, but the 8 does feel more rounded. But besides that, the front and back of the 8 have a Gorilla Glass Victus 2 build, which means that in most cases, if you do drop it, then most likely it won't break, which is pretty good news for people who have butterfingers. Again, I also really love the sides. It made the phone feel much more smooth and made the phone feel much more satisfying. And this is the reason why I think that the Pixel 8 and the iPhone 15 are incredibly well built. And now when it comes to physicality, the Pixel 8 weighs about 187 grams, which is slightly lighter than the Pixel 7, which is 197 grams. And right here, you can see how well it fit into my hands. It is smaller than the 7, but I've always thought that 6.1 to 6.2 inches is perfect. It's not too big and it's not too small. Now the Pixel 8 has a 50 megapixel main camera, along with a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and can shoot up to 4K at 60 frames per second. And when we look at the daytime outside photos, we can see that it's pretty good for its price. The skies look nice, the environment looked nice, and my selfies were top tier. And just like every other Pixel, I really admire the fact that it was able to handle my skin tone very well. I didn't really look disoriented, and it let in enough light to where I can say it was a quality selfie. And now when we look at the daytime inside photos, I would say that these are also really good. In my apartment, I usually get pretty good lighting, so you really have to take that into consideration. But Pixels have always been pretty good at taking photos when it's bad lighting as well. It was able to capture my skin tone very well, which made me want to take more selfies, and it was good enough to give me the confidence that I can use this camera on a daily basis. I also wanted to give you guys an example of how the Pixel 8 records video before I gather my final thoughts about it and my final review. And when we look at additional specs on the Pixel 8, it has a Google Tensor G3 chip that can be found in the Pixel 8 Pro. It has storage starting from 128 gigs that goes up to 256 gigs with 8 gigs of RAM. And it supports 27-watt charging. And it also had an IP68 dust and water resistance rating. And there it is, you guys. My first impression on the Pixel 8. Now stay tuned for more because I will be giving a weekly update on the 8 where I will be going into detail with how it holds up. But let me know down in the comments, do you guys think that I should do a day in the life on the Pixel 8? Let me know. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Peace.